Well, this is my second video blog. The first one has had 117 views on YouTube. How sad is that? I've got nothing better to do. Never mind. I've got a bit of a cold, so my voice is a little bit croaky and a little bit sexier, I suppose you could say. Moving quickly on. And partly I'm very tired because last night I went to the paperback launch of this book here, Promised Land by Anthony Clavane. Anthony's a writer we're really interested in, and the book, Promised Land, is a very interesting sports book. It's actually a sports book of the year. And it's set in Leeds in the mid-70s, and it looks at Anthony's own life really as a young Jewish person in Leeds. So it looks at the history of the Jews coming to the Leylands, which was a slum area in the 19th century, and it tracks in parallel the failure of Leeds United not to win the European Cup. I just need to say to Anthony that actually Liverpool have won the European Cup 5 times. That's irrelevant, of course. I also have to apologise, particularly to maybe Alison Andrews, because I drank Guinness on an empty stomach, and that makes my brain scream, "Shut up!" but my mouth going into overdrive, and I was just talking some absolute rubbish, and I think Alison got the brunt of it, so I apologise to you, Alison, if you watch this. So yeah, and we want to make a community play version of Anthony's book with the Carriage Works. We won't get any funding for that, so we're going to try and help the Guild of Amateur Dramatic Societies to apply for funding to do that. Why do we want to do this? Because it's a Leeds play. We want to do it next summer, just as the Olympic torch arrives in Leeds. And I'm fascinated to make a professional production with a large cast of people who are passionate about theatre, because they're members of amateur dramatic societies. And I think those amateur dramatic societies in every city in the country and village and small town are the sort of they're actually the backbone of the industry. There's a controversial comment. So what's been happening? Well, last Friday, this time last week in fact, we had our press launch for Big Society, Boff Worley's new play, which we will perform with Chumbawamba and with our lead actor Phil Jupitus. And Phil, myself and Boff were interviewed by the press and the radio and the TV, or at least Phil was. I wasn't interviewed by the radio and TV. And yes, it was great. And I think it was a useful launch. Big Society is going to be running for 3 weeks at the City Varieties. It's a play set in 1912, and as Boff said, it's a play which compares the present government of Old Etonians with the government of the Edwardian times of Old Etonians. It doesn't compare the governments at all, actually. It's a play about music hall, and it's comic, but it will poke fun at a certain ruling class of people. I've made it sound rubbish, but it won't be. It'll be brilliant, so just watch this space. What else am I doing? Yeah, I'm about to go and see Punch Drunk's show this afternoon. I've managed to borrow Chris Lloyd's 9 and 12-year-old, because only children are allowed to see this latest show, and if you're an adult you have to be accompanying a child. So I've borrowed Chris's children. Sounds really weird, but you know, that's what I'm going to do. I'm not just, anyway, and I'm really excited about it. It's been written by, I think, one of the Doctor Who writers, and I've never seen a Punch Drunk show, so woohoo! What else has been happening? Oh, what will be happening? I mean, next week I'm going to be running a workshop audition for 30 dancers who want to work with Dougie Thorpe. Dougie Thorpe's a really interesting choreographer. His work doesn't really fit comfortably in dance, and it's moving towards theatre, and I think he wants to push it further towards theatre. So I'm doing a 2-hour workshop which he will observe to help him select a company of dancers. And there will be 30 dancers, so quite exciting really. I better get rid of this cold and try and get fit. That's happening next week. News of the World just got closed down. Hooray. And it's going to be replaced by the Sunday Sun. Not a lot of difference really, but anyway, at least they won't be hacking into people's phones, we presume. Like to see David Cameron actually disassociate himself from Murdoch and all those despicable red top papers that scream right-wing opinions. But he's not likely to, is he? Because they celebrate his prime ministerial position just about every single day. So yeah, biased press we've got in this country, but never mind, yes, and what have I been doing? Yeah, I've been reading this little book, which is really good, and it's called Theatre and Globalisation by Dan Rebellato, who's a pretty good playwright actually. Had a play out last year called Chekhov in Hell, directed by my ex-boss Simon Stokes, the Theatre Royal Plymouth. Yeah, well, what have I been reading that for? Because I needed something to read, and it's been really useful. It helped me prepare my workshop last Saturday at Quarry Hill Creates Festival, which was about theatre activism. I had 15 people who I ranted at for 2 hours about the world and the capitalist system, and they stayed for 2 hours, which is remarkable. And one person sent me her CV and said she wants to act for Red Ladder. So something went right there. And yeah, that's what I've been doing. It's been a really hard year. I keep going on about it, but maybe we're coming through the woods a little bit now. And the meeting yesterday about Anthony's play was really exciting, and hopefully we can get some funding for Carriage Works and the Guild to do that. Had a great meeting in the pub last night after the Guinness, okay, but yeah, it was good, with David Peace, who is a very interesting writer, and watch this space about the relationship between Red Ladder and David Peace, because I think it's strengthening, and well, who knows, so I think that's about it. I apologise, it's been a bit rambly, a bit croaky, lots of apologies in today's blog. Alcohol is counter-revolutionary, there's no doubt about it. I'm not ready today to lead a revolution. I've got a hangover and I've got a snotty nose. What good's that? So yeah, that's it. I'm going to switch off now. Bye.